At the edge of a quiet cemetery in rural Georgia, under a sky heavy with rain clouds, a little black girl in a white dress dropped to her knees and screamed, "She killed my brother!" The crowd froze. No one moved. No one spoke. But one man did. A stranger in a long coat standing at the back stepped forward, not with anger, but with a calm so deep it cut through the storm. He didn't know the boy. He didn't know the girl. But something in her cry reminded him of a promise he made 30 years ago. And by sunrise, the entire town would learn. When a billionaire with a broken past listens to a child's pain, truth has no choice but to rise. Her name was Nia Johnson, 10 years old, with braids tied with faded blue ribbons and a voice that carried the weight of a soul too old for her age. She lived in Hazel Creek, a small southern town where generations of black families farmed the red clay soil, raised their children in shotgun houses, and buried their dead beneath live oaks draped in Spanish moss. Her brother Jamal was 16, a quiet boy with a guitar, dreams of becoming a music teacher, and a habit of walking home late from tutoring younger kids at the community center. He was found one morning on the railroad tracks, motionless, a single gash on his temple. The sheriff called it a tragic accident. Probably fell while crossing, maybe drunk kids messing around. No autopsy, no investigation, just a folded flag and a headstone that read, "Beloved son, taken too soon." But Nia knew better. She had seen the car, a sleek black SUV with tinted windows, idling near the tracks that night. She had heard the tires crunch on gravel after the scream, and she had watched the woman in the red coat walk into the mayor's office the next morning like nothing happened. Still, no one listened. Not the police, not the pastor, not even her own grandmother, who whispered, "Child, don't go stirring trouble you can't survive." So at the funeral, when the preacher said, "God called him home," Nia snapped. She broke free from her grandmother's grip, ran to the casket, and screamed into the silence, "She killed him! That woman in the red coat, she killed my brother." And that's when he stepped forward. No one knew his name. He wore a worn leather coat, carried a wooden cane, and didn't sit with the crowd. He stood apart, like a man used to being unseen. But when Nia cried, he didn't flinch. He walked straight to her, knelt in the damp grass, and said, "I believe you." Then he pulled out a phone and made one call. "Open the file and find me everything on Eleanor Vance." Because this man wasn't just a stranger. He was Malcolm West, a self-made billionaire who vanished 25 years ago after his own brother was killed in a suspicious accident, and the world looked away. Malcolm West wasn't always a ghost. Once he stood on stages, his voice echoing through corporate halls, his name flashing on Forbes covers. But when his younger brother, Darnell, was shot outside a voter registration drive in Mississippi, labeled a random robbery, Malcolm demanded answers. And when the system buried the truth, he buried his empire. He sold everything, donated most of it, and disappeared into the shadows, funding quiet investigations, supporting families no one else would hear. He believed justice wasn't in courts. It was in witnesses, in children who remembered, in the ones who refused to forget. So when he heard Nia scream, it wasn't curiosity that moved him. It was recognition. Back in Hazel Creek, Malcolm didn't storm police stations or hire lawyers. He did something far more dangerous. He listened. He sat on porches with elders who remembered when the railroad used to bring jobs, not just death. He bought lemonade from the corner stand and asked the kids, "Did anyone see a black SUV near the tracks?" One boy, Tyrone, 12 years old, whispered, "Yeah." And the lady inside waved at me, smiled like she knew me. Malcolm didn't react. He just handed the boy $2 and said, "Thank you for telling the truth." Then he visited the tracks. No police tape, no markers, just weeds growing through the gravel. But when he knelt, he saw it, a small dent in the rail, fresh like something heavy had scraped it. And 10 feet away, a broken earring, silver, shaped like a crescent moon. He took it to a local jeweler. "Belongs to Eleanor Vance," the old man said. "Mayor's wife. Wears it every Sunday." Meanwhile, the town began to shift. Whispers turned to murmurs. "Who is that man?" Why is he asking questions? Why is the mayor suddenly so nervous? Malcolm didn't care. He dug deeper, found out the mayor's family was pushing a new development, a luxury resort, that needed the railroad land cleared. Jamal had been the only one organizing resistance. He'd collected signatures, spoken at town hall, even recorded a video. But the video was gone. And the night Jamal died, the security camera at the gas station across the street malfunctioned. Malcolm didn't rage. He didn't threaten. He simply said to Nia, "We're not fighting them with anger. We're fighting them with truth," and truth, he knew, was the most powerful weapon of all. 1 week after the funeral, Malcolm stood in the town hall, not as a billionaire, but as a witness. He didn't shout. He didn't point. He simply placed a small wooden box on the table in front of the mayor and his wife. Inside, the crescent moon earring. A time-stamped photo of the SUV near the tracks at 11:47 p.m. A recovered fragment of the video Jamal recorded, showing him saying, "If anything happens to me, it's because I stood in their way." And a soil analysis proving the dent in the rail matched the tire treads of the Vance family's SUV. The room fell silent. The mayor turned pale. His wife, in her red coat, stood abruptly. But Malcolm didn't look at her. He turned to Nia, who sat in the front row, clutching her grandmother's hand. "Nia," he said, voice steady, "you were right. Your brother wasn't careless. He wasn't drunk. He was brave." Then he turned back to the room. Jamal Johnson didn't die in an accident. He was silenced because he believed this land belonged to the people, not the powerful. The sheriff, an old man with tired eyes, finally stood. "I'm reopening the case." No applause, no cheers, just a deep collective breath, like a town waking up from a long sleep. Eleanor Vance was arrested that night. The mayor resigned, and the development project canceled. But Malcolm didn't stay for the headlines. At dawn, he visited Jamal's grave, placed a single guitar pick on the stone, and whispered, "They tried to bury the truth, but they forgot. Seeds grow in the dark." Malcolm West left Hazel Creek the next morning. No farewell, no interview, just a note left at Nia's doorstep. "Keep speaking. The world needs your voice." But he didn't disappear. He funded a scholarship in Jamal's name for Black youth pursuing music and justice. He helped restore the community center, now called the Darnell and Jamal House. And every year on the anniversary of Jamal's passing, a new song is played there, written by a young artist who refused to be silent. Nia, she's 17 now, a senior in high school, and she's writing a book. Its title, "I Was the First to Speak." The town still has scars, but it also has a new mural on Main Street, a boy with a guitar, a girl with a megaphone, and a man in a long coat handing them both a microphone made of light. Because real change doesn't always come with sirens. Sometimes it comes with a whisper, a child's cry, a billionaire's silence, and the courage to say, "I believe you." So ask yourself tonight, who in your life is speaking truth and no one is listening? What if the quietest voice in the room is the one that could change everything? At the gentle flame, we believe. No act of courage is too small, no truth too buried, and no child's voice ever truly forgotten.